Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today I have a sense of accomplishment because we're going to be looking at all of this. It's the Quintesson Pit of Judgment, and everything herein is going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your humble host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors, NL, and the Autobot family, Transformers vs. G.I. Joe vs. DC Universe vs. Marvel, and all of my social media links, they're all down in the description below, man. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, hit the join button, become a channel member. And this is the Quintesson Pit of Judgment. I'm going to, right away, before I go any further, give a huge thank you to Input. It's thanks to him that I got this, and I cannot let it pass without saying thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Because of them and their contributions to the channel, that's another reason that this is here in my position. Otherwise, I could not have gotten it. So I have a ton of people to thank. This came to me through the help of our wonderful community, and I cannot thank them enough. This gives me my third and final Quintesson. Any I see now, I will be helping others to get. In fact, I've already helped 3 people to get theirs. This gives me my next Sharkticon, which I guess that's cool, alright. The Prosecutor, who I really wanted, and Kranix is neat. This is also what has the Bailiff, and because I do not have the Allicon yet, it does not come out in my neck of the woods, the Bailiff is going to be my first crack at that mold, so I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm super excited that inside here we actually have the box itself that serves as a set that I will most definitely use for Universal Collision. I'm totally stoked without this. So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at all this stuff. And so, yes indeed, we do have the Quintesson Pit of Judgment. Huge shout out to Input for helping me obtain this. Look, I really wanted this. I really wanted the set. And when I say the set, I don't just mean the set. I mean the set. There's a, you know, there's a display set in here. The Prosecutor, I really wanted. Even Kranix. Like, I am so happy, so thankful to have this. This, of course, is the box. I mean, it's meant for display. There's no doubt about it. Quintesson Pit of Judgment. Transformers on the other side. Even over here on this side, we can see that we have some. I don't want to say molded in detail, that's not it, but we do have some detailing on the side of the box. On the other side, over here, same thing. And on the back, you can see that we have an image of the pit. Now, that being said, we don't have this outer side of the Pit of Judgment. That's been discussed by like lots of people now, lots of times. We also don't have an executioner yet. For me, this is kind of extra special because in my neck of the woods, we do not have the Allicons yet. Wave 2 has not hit as of this recording, so my first experience ever with the Allicon mold is gonna be the Bailiff. As well, you may have noticed, maybe I'll show it again because maybe I turned this around again too quick. You may have noticed, I find this very interesting, that this is you know, it's War for Cybertron, it's part of like Earthrise and whatnot, but it's Transformers the movie branded down here. Interestingly enough, Studio Series is doing a lot of 86, you know, Studio Series 86 characters from Transformers the movie, the animated movie. So the lines are getting real mushy, man, real mushy. But let's see kind of what this looks like out of this package. Hey, I just wanted to show real quick that what you do to open the package is, of course, you lift the top flap, but then there's little tabs that go in the front here. If you pull that out, you don't need to rip the box open or anything. If you pull that out, you can lift the whole thing out, and it looks something like this. Okay, now to be fair, the sides and the back of this, I mean, it's just cardboard, man. The Detailing here is great. Some people said, well, the cardboard is a little thin. I mean, it's cardboard, man. What do you expect? That being said, when I was a lad, I had an Autobot base that was completely cardboard. If you look up cardboard Autobot base, I mean, you'll probably see it. It was a great base. I used it for a long time. This is the same thickness of cardboard as that. And that was years and years and years ago. I love this. This is a great display. Is it a little bit simplified from what the actual Pit of Judgment would be? Kind of, because usually you have space for 3 Quintessons, and then the Bailiff and the Prosecutor is usually, you know, kind of on the steps or something. So like this is a little bit stylized, but you know what? It definitely works. There's no doubt about it. We're going to see the characters in here a little bit later, but speaking of the characters, let's look at them individually first. And so we begin with the Lithonian named Kranix. And Kranix, you know, again, he's a robot. He had a companion whose name I can't remember right now. Basically, you know, he's somebody who gets put on trial by the Quintessons. The whole, I think he's the guy maybe who says, like, spare me this mockery of justice. Lithon gets destroyed, of course, by Unicron. It's rough, man. It's rough. There's no doubt. The only other time that we really had Kranix was, ironically, with one of the redecos of Unicron. The little dead-end Minicon was redone as a version thereof of Kranix, but this is one solid piece, nothing moves on it. I think it's painted good enough. Would a little extra detailing be nice? Sure. Why they did it this way, I'm not sure. The arms easily could have plugged in and at least rotated 360 degrees, but they done it as one piece, even though it looks like the arms should be able to move. Same with the legs. The legs are connected at the feet. I think you could have had them not connected and at least had the legs go forward and back. So I think it was a bit of a lost opportunity. That being said, like, I'm fine with this. Kranix was only tiny anyway. I'm cool. This works for me. I'm going to say the look of the guy is somewhere about a 7 or so. In terms of his paint apps, like, the top of the head should have more pink on it. His arms, kind of around the elbow, a bit of the bicep, and his hand should have more pink. The legs, that's pretty much right. The body's pretty much right. So it's in the ballpark. What more do you want for something so tiny? And speaking of small, largely non-moving parts of this box set, we have a version of the Prosecutor. There's, like, Prosecutor is a rank, basically. It's part of Quintesson culture. It's obviously below the rank of a judge. And the prosecutors are basically tasked with, well, prosecuting in the Quintesson courts for just whatever that's worth. This guy, apparently his base is connected by a 5mm peg, but I can't get mine to come out. So, not that I would want to take it off anyway, but apparently it's supposed to be able to come out. Mine's in there pretty secure, so I'm not fiddling with it. The head, it can move left and right. It's the only articulation it has, and the head can also come out. My head on my Prosecutor does come out rather easily, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm not absolutely tickled to have a Prosecutor within my ranks, finally. In terms of his animation accuracy, I think it's largely accurate, to be honest with you. I think I might actually have him turned around the wrong way. I think this is his back. I think this is his front. Because I think the front is just supposed to be the solid green. Like, I think the other pieces are supposed to be on his back. I'm going to say, honestly, I'm going to say this is a 10. Like, it absolutely looks like a Quintesson Prosecutor to me. I love the silver paint. This is fantastic. I'm so happy to add it to my Quintesson ranks as well. Which brings us to this beautifully, and I mean beautifully done, Sharkticon. Now, the colors on him are a little bit strange. I think that it's supposed to be indicative of the colors that the Sharkticons are when they're, like, in the Sharkticon pit. Like when they're down in the water, I guess we'll call it. I mean, when I look at this, it seems somewhat aquatic, like there's different hazes of blues and whatnot, because, and I did a custom version of the Sharkticon like a long time ago, because this is what colors he actually should be. And you can tell that this one is a lot, you know, is a lot more muted. I do like his eyes though, rather than the red eyes. Now, I looked at the original Titans Return way back in episode 265, a long time ago. And I even looked at an update to and what I did with this custom paint app in episode 271. Still a long time ago, man. And more recently, and I'm going to actually back things up slightly so you can see this, I looked at Na again by way of his Cyberverse version, and again I did custom work here, and that was in episode 594. So this is kind of what my Sharkticons look like. Here's the thing. I have a trio of the Titan's Return, I have a trio of the Cyberverse. So I have those 6, and they all kind of look alike. However, the one that stands out, the one that doesn't look like the rest, is the one from now the Pit of Judgment. I think the one from the Pit of Judgment shall now stand as my Sharkticon leader, shall now stand as specifically the character of Na. Therefore, his coloration. Again, I can't really say it's accurate per se. It looks beautiful. It's so much sheen and shine on it. But I'm going to say that the coloration here is more like a, more like a 7. Maybe, a 6.5, a 7. Like, it's a Sharkticon. And he has a Decepticon symbol for some reason. I don't know why. I really don't. I may try and get that to, I don't know. I might try and get that off. I don't know yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do to handle that, to be perfectly honest. But nevertheless, it's a fine start, I guess. What about the articulation for the guy? Well, the articulation's all right. We have an arm that can go all the way around. This, of course, in his hand it becomes his tail, but it's his flail. Because of the ball joint, we can go all the way out. We can do a kind of a rotation. That's the elbow, so to speak. I still think the shape of the arms is weird. Leg can go all the way forward. Leg can go all the way back. No thigh swivel. We have a knee to, I guess, 90 degrees. A lot of junk hanging out. It's all right. Like, he stands really well. You can do what you kind of want to do with him. Again, I'm going to say it's about, let's say it's about a 7, 7.5 maybe for his articulation. In terms of the transformation, I'm going to take these out. We're going to bring this up over his head. We're going to pull back this whole section. Now, these flip down. Some people try to flip these up on the front of the feet, but that's not where they go. And then these come up over. There's a little tab right there that goes into a notch up here. So that should be able to come all the way up over, and this should be able to come all the way up over. These arms pop out and they go back on the body. Arm pops out, goes back on the body. We make sure that we have these legs lined up. We bring the two headpieces together if they want to go together. We bring these down. I do need to straighten this up a little bit because it wants to be a nuisance. Really wants to be a nuisance, actually. This piece comes up over, then back here in the little like hole gap place, that's where we take this piece and it should be able to fit in there. Oh, maybe I need to do it this way. My mistake. Like that. I need to clean it up, but basically this is not in his shark mode, baby. And my mistake in rushing through the transformation, which it's a good transformation. I forgot to flip his head back, so before you tab the legs in and tab the two sides of the upper head together, the robot head goes flipped back into the body. You can still see his face in there a little bit. I left it that way so you could see it. We close up the jaw. Here he is next to one of my regular, customized Titan's Return, Sharkticons. Look, I think that they're pretty great. I mean, the transformation is a solid, honestly, I'm going to say it's a solid 8, 8.5. Is it a perfect Sharkticon? No. Are there things that could be done better? Sure. Are they great Sharkticons? Absolutely. I've heard Studio Series is doing Sharkticons. If they release this as like a 3-pack, I think that'd be cool, to be honest with you. But if they do a different mold, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they do it better or not. I might be in for a trio of those. I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. But I like this. I think it looks good. You can, again, see how this one seems more aquatic-inspired than this one. Yet again, he stands out beautifully by himself. So far, if you're keeping score, keeping track, the overall set is about an 8. It's a great set so far. Somewhat simplistic, but a nice set. excellent display piece. This, of course, is the Quintesson Bailiff. This is the only chance to have a Quintesson Bailiff that I know of, unless, of course, you're going like the third-party route, like the Impossible Toys one or something from many, many, many moons ago. But officially, this is the only one. And it's the first time that I'm looking at this mold, because I don't have the Allicons yet, as I previously mentioned. In terms of the coloration, that's where we're going to start. It's not perfect. Like sometimes when you see the animation, he's a lighter green with more silver. This, however, does match some of the animation where I guess the light is less. We do have like the pink on his mask, I suppose we'll call it. Sometimes that's purple. His hands should be that same color. The center of his chest is that color, so his hands aren't quite accurate. His staff is pretty accurate. The bottom of it, though, should be gray like the top. His shoulder spikes should definitely be the color they are, but there's like a blue line that should be around them. The actual shoulder pads should also be like more of a grayish than this maroony type of color, though I like the maroony type of color. His lower legs, his waist should not be that maroon color, should be a more grayish color, but I think the gray is a little more bland. I think I like the maroon. Same with his like tail that's on his back. If we turn the guy around, like this here, this should also be more of that like grayish color. My staff is bent a little bit. I'm gonna have to fix that. That was my own fault. But overall, I know it's a Bailiff. Again, I'm going to say that the look is about a 7, 7.5. There are things here that could have been done a little more accurately. If I go on down to his very lower legs, his lower legs should again be sort of grayish. His toe claws, instead of being that greeny color, they should be more of a, I don't know, like a gunmetal gray maybe. Although, to be fair, in some animations, sometimes they are green. So that tends to sort of vary a little bit depending on your point of reference. So yeah, I'm going to say it's about a 7.5. In terms of the articulation, well, we'll take this out of his hand. Man, I'm really going to have to fix that. That was my own fault. It was fine in a box. This is totally my own fault. Because I accidentally bent it up and it's soft. The top of his staff is soft, kind of like the swords of Generations Drift, if you know what they're like, for example. So that stinks, but such is life. The articulation. So we have a head. It can go left and right quite freely. It can look up and down quite nicely. The arms can go all the way around. We have an elbow to, say, 90 degrees. We have a wrist swivel, which is nice. We have a bicep swivel. Is it a bicep? Yeah, it's a bicep swivel, I guess. However, in terms of the outward movement, this is it. That's all the guy. Let me get this guy stood up again. That's all the guy could do out to the side. Are you kidding me? That is sad. It's all because of the hole on his arm. If that was gone, maybe it could go out further. Before anybody asks, am I going to cut it off? I doubt it. All these guys really did was stand there. I don't know, but I find that disappointing. If the Allicon is as limited as that, I find that a real big bummer. And if I'm missing something, like, by all means, tell me, but I don't think I am, man. The legs can go all the way out to the side. They can go, if you get this little hip skirt up, they can go forward, they can go back. We have a thigh swivel, that's quite nice. We have a pretty deep knee, which is quite nice. And we have like forward and back on the toes, on the feet, and we have an ankle tilt. Like for standing and posing and stuff, he's great for that. It's just his arms, their outward movement is really kind of sort of trash. I'm gonna have to mark it down because of the arms too. Again, a lot of what's there is really good, but those arms are a big bummer. It's gonna knock it down to a 6. It's gonna knock it down to a 6 for me. I find that really jarring and bad. I really want to move these out more. Even though he looks good like this, I do think that his real strength is in his transformation, because so far the accuracy is only about a 7 and the articulation is only about a 6. He's not a standout so far, but I do like the transformation. So to do the transformation, we'll just sort of stand him up a bit. We pick this whole section up over, and the head kind of like goes down, which I think is really neat. I like that we turn this around. By the way, this can come out as well. I don't know if it's supposed to or not, but it can, and I guess be another melee thing. But that should be able to come right down over, and there's a couple of tabs right there that should go into slots right here on his chest. So he should be able to push it down that far. I do find that to be a little bit of a chore to do. I'm not 100% sure how those hinges work yet back here. There, got the head down, now it should go in. Getting the head down all the way is a bit of a challenge. Oh, before I put that in, we turn them around at the waist. Now we bring that down. There, there, woo! Okay, so now that we got the legs and stuff turned around, you can sort of bend them at the knees a bit. And then these here, we have come this way, and these will come back, and there's a little peg on the inside of the arm that goes into a little slot right there for those who didn't know, though I got a feeling most people know this by now, because I think I'm really kind of behind the times with this guy. Same thing here. We close it up, and we should be able to put that peg in there, and in the end, ooh, boom, here we have the Bailiff in his Allicon glory. And he can strike a nice pose in this little arm over here. I took out the tail piece and I gave him a little dagger type thing. I just wedged his like mace section and stuff like in the back there. In terms of articulation, well, the legs retain all the articulation that they had. These little arms can go up and down. They don't come out or anything. The shoulders can't come out. The jaw can open and close, but the head cannot move left to right. I kind of really wished that I thought I'd try that back there. I really wished that the head could move back and forth. It's, again, a piece of articulation that I'm sort of missing. He looks good. I don't ever remember the Bailiff even having an alt mode, so this works fine for me. Apparently the Allicon is colored inside. This guy's not. Maybe I'll end up doing something myself, but I think it looks good. I think it looks fine. I think it's functional. Look, man, here's the bottom line. We have been waiting so long for an Allicon. And while I think there's ways to improve this, it's not bad overall. The transformation is pretty fun for the most part. I'm going to say that the transformation is a solid 9. The guy was only getting a 7. It's about an 8. Kind of sticks with everything else. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And that brings us finally to the Quintesson Judge. And the Quintesson Judge, I really looked at the stock retail release not long ago in episode 759 and loved it. I thought it was great. Again, here, just to blow through it pretty quickly, this still has the same gimmick with the rotating faces, which I think is really great. It works just fine. He stays on his stool a little bit better. Instead of being green, it's gray here. I guess the beam underneath him this time is blue instead of clear. There's a bunch of paint app differences that we'll talk about in a few moments. In terms of the articulation, I don't know, like the tentacles, you can sort of move them around, and he does hold his like blaster like over here. I think I have him holding it. Yeah, I do. Like right there. I mean, there's a couple of little spots down here where you can use the little nubs on the tentacles to put them in. The tentacles here are a strange green color, but like whatever, I'm cool with it. You know, it doesn't really bother me. In terms of the transformation for the guy, we'll do that super quick because we already saw it really. You take this out and you remove that, so like that whole kind of piece there is ready to go. Kranix can fit in here, we'll see that in just a second. In terms of the Quintesson Judge himself, we'd take that off. There's a button here on this thing somewhere that I push down on to take that off, and we can take this out of it. We have the chair here, and the chair basically opens up thusly like this. And the main Quintesson body, if you didn't know already, you bring up the faces like this. Interestingly, you do not have to put on any of the faces here. In the stock retail release, you have to put on this face, Doubt, and this face, yeah, Rage, which both look quite different than they do here. So they go up. These pieces will come down. Again, as I explained with the other one, there's a little like nub section piece to help you bring these down. Same here. Bring it down on the lower hinge. Bring it all the way down and bring it all the way down and bring it all the way down like that. This piece here, it will link up with this. All goes down there like that. And you just lay this piece up here, which I think is weird. Like, there's nowhere that that really locks in per se, or nowhere that I've ever been able to find for it to lock in. We gotta bring those down ever so slightly. So you'll put that in there, and then we can take this piece, and it comes in with two little like peg holes there. If I can line these up, again, it's a bit of a nuisance to do so. There, put that there. Kranix, interestingly, is so thin that he can actually, like, you can open the door to put him in, but you don't have to. It works just fine like that. I don't know. This is weird. Like, I've shown it. Apparently, this is supposed to be indicative of a Quintesson ship. I don't really see it. Whatever. It's part of a base thing. You can connect the little guys like Slitherfang and stuff to it. I don't know. It's cool. To me, all I want it to be is a Quintesson. Simple as that, man. In terms of the transformation, though, it's easy. You just saw how quickly I did it here. I'll say that that's 10, I guess, for what it is. The guy's good. There's no doubt about it. We've been waiting a long time for a Quintesson as well, and the guy is quite good. I also looked at how to put the faces on. If you've been struggling with how to put the faces on your stock release Quintessons, I sort of explained 3 ways you can go about trying to do it in episode 761. Now let's be realistic here about the coloration. First things first, the colors that are on the Pit of Judgment one represent one specific Quintesson Judge and kind of one specific scene. There's a point in the film during Kranix's trial when the base of the Quintesson Judge like shines up on him and his colors seem brighter and more brilliant. That's what this represents. The way we usually think of Quintessons is better represented by this one. So again, I'm going to say that the Pit of Judgment one is not as accurate, but I will quantify that by saying that it's indicative of a specific scene and the way the lighting was in that scene. If we look at the overall coloration, the gray chair, the green chair, whatever, I do like the blue translucent piece over the clear translucent piece. I like the darker gray over the lighter gray, but I'm cool with both. For me, the judge that's in the Pit of Judgment will probably be like Deliberata or something like that. I can't remember. Whoever the like king of the Quintessons basically is, like, he's gonna be, the one from the Pit is gonna be my leader of the Quintesson judges, if that makes sense. I just can't remember the guy's name right now. Face of Doubt here, they're very comparable, done very much in the same fashion. The only real difference is that the face is brighter on this one. Then next we have the Face of War, or the Laughing Face. Again, with this one, this would be more accurate, but honestly, this one has more detail on it. Like the lower face has more coloring on it. The red has extra detail like on the crest piece in there, so I absolutely positively dig that. I think that it looks a bit better, if I'm perfectly honest. Next up we have the Face of Death. And undoubtedly, the Face of Death, as most people know it, is going to be this face here. But the other one, again, is very indicative of that scene in the film. Granted, the lower jaw, that one might be a bit iffy. Maybe the lower jaw should be colored the rest of that face. It's a gray color as opposed to this whitey color. The yellow on this guy's more gold on the other one. I like the darker green here, and I like the black eyes rather than the blue. But again, to homage that specific scene, as the light shines up on the face, the eyes are kind of blue, so it's sort of accurate. This one has the jaw that can open and close. By the way, the tentacles on all of these guys can move up and down, and they're soft rubbery plastic, so you can sort of manipulate them around a little bit. Then we come to the Face of Wisdom, and I'm just going to show you, because I haven't really shown the gimmick so much here. You know, I glossed over it a little bit. but it works fine. Actually, I think it's a little smoother on the one from the pit, if I'm honest. Again, both of these look really good. It's more matte colors here, more gloss on the pit version. I think the pit version is definitely more indicative of the film. I think the shades are more indicative of the film. So, I don't know. I think the pit one's really good. The lower jaw being that weird color, I'm not a huge fan of. But outside of that, I think it's pretty good. The jaw also opens and closes on this guy as well. And then finally we come to perhaps one of the most controversial faces. The version from the regular retail is definitely the more accurate one with the red. It is anger, rage, or wrath. Now for the stock release, putting this face on is a nuisance. The jaw again opens and closes here. I like the added detail on the one from the pit, but for accuracy, for the coloration, for what I remember the face looked like, the Earthrise one takes it. Nevertheless, it's undoubtable that these guys look good. And I'm going to say that the Quintesson Judge here overall is still about an 8. The set's overall about an 8. But this is what takes this set from being a mere 8 to a 10. I, for one, have been waiting for 34, 35 years, however long that the Quintessons have been around. I've been waiting for this. I am lucky enough to have a couple of small third-party Quintessons to add to the forces. The version that comes with the pit itself, right there in the center, front and center, he is going to be my leader of leaders. Kranix is in a bad state. We have the Bailiff. We have a bunch of Sharkticons. This is glorious. This takes it from an 8 to, honestly, 100 for me. I know that that's subjective. Objectively, the set itself is okay. It's about an 8. Subjectively, I've been waiting for this for a long, long time, and I could not be more appreciative or more thankful to be able to add this fantastic set to my collection. If you get the opportunity, don't pass it up, if for nothing else, but for this right here. And here we are once again, and here is the box set once again. Okay, I love the set. That's part 1. Love it. I can even set up 3 actual Quintesson Judges on it. I think it's fantastic. The Kranix is fine. Like, I don't need him to move. I think he's fine. A little more paint would be welcome, but he's cool. I really like the Prosecutor. Yes, only the head moves. It'd be nice if the tentacles did, but I can live. For how small he is, I can live. I'm cool with it. The Judge is really neat. Again, he homages... Oh, I just tipped over. Again, he homages a specific scene from the movie, because the whole thing homages Kranix trial. The Sharkticon is neat. It definitely looks like he's underwater, and I like that. And because he's so different, I'm cool with him kind of being like the leader of the Sharkticons. And then we get to the Bailiff. And I think the Bailiff is... The Bailiff's rough. I love everything from the waist down. I love the paint. I love the molding. I love all the detail. I love the transformation. I think it's great. You know, the bipedal alligator mode is weird, but whatever. I'm cool with it. The reason that he's rough is because of how limited the outward range of motion on the arms is. Now, I tend to let it pass a little bit here because I don't think that the Bailiff's going to see a ton of action. You know, he's the Bailiff, right? I think he'll be fine as is. I am concerned about the Allicons having such limitations. Nevertheless, right now, my display with my 3 now Earthrise Judges, my 3 smaller third-party judges, my Prosecutor, my altogether now, I guess, 7 Sharkticons, and my Bailiff. Like, I feel like I have good, solid Quintesson forces who can actually be a considerable threat to the Autobots and Decepticons going forward in Universal Collision. Love the set. If you can find your way clear to get it, get it. Is it perfect? No, but it is fun, looks great, and is fantastic. Let me know what you think of the Pit of Judgment. I love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know, man, how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget, somehow, someway, each and every single solitary day, man, you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here. You guessed it, inside the videos.